March 2026 Prehistoric Kingdom Dev Diary is out, so let's dive in to see what the devs have been working on. First of all, a PTB patch for Update 16 came out a few weeks ago. It adds more vivarium animations, tannin-rich water, amphibious titanoboa, and rebalances diseases. Now, older animals are more likely to die from diseases. Tannin is a water discoloration caused by decaying plant matter. It makes the vivarium water look more realistic. They really didn't have to add this attention to detail, but they did it anyway. You can choose between clear or tannin-rich water. A PTB for Update 17 is coming early April. Combat won't be ready, but we'll get a taste of the management overhaul, new Scrubland plants, and a limited version of Stegosaurus, complete with ontogeny. They don't say what's missing. I'm just glad we finally have Stegosaurus in some capacity. The PTB won't include combat because the devs are still experimenting with it. Things are changing every day. Right now, they're at the point where the T-Rex can do basic attacks, strafe around, and walk slowly during battle. The combat will be dynamic and unpredictable. This is the first screenshot of actual combat from the game. All the previous photos were just the dinosaurs posed to look like they're fighting. All the animals will have a set of attacks. They'll be able to bite, tail swipe, or headbutt, which will be layered on top of the locomotion. I think what they're trying to do is have two different animations work together. A bite attack will be one animation, and a walk cycle is one animation. If they're not close enough to the target, the bite and run will combine into one animation. The animals can also perform bluff charges and lunge attacks too. This part says the T-Rex has a leaping attack. I can't see how a 9-ton animal could leap. Maybe they're talking about the juveniles doing a leaping attack. What if the attack animations change with ontogeny? That would be an insane amount of work, but also just another day for the devs. Here's a taste of early combat animation. This is the Velociraptor leaping kick. If you watch the animation, you can get a sense of the dynamic attack animation. Sometimes the raptor will leap kick, then bite. Sometimes it'll bite twice. Sometimes it won't bite at all. It'll do all the moves, but how and when is entirely random. Also, when was the last time you saw Velociraptor use a kick attack in games or shows? It's not very common. Here's a Stegosaurus tail swipe. It looks good, but I think it's a little lacking in power and momentum. The spikes at the end of the tail are heavy, and I imagine it'll pick up a lot of momentum once it whips around. Maybe a little more speed towards the end of the tail swipe might help make it look more powerful. Maybe it'll feel more powerful once hit reactions are added. Animals will have a combat profile to control their behaviors. Here's a perfect example. One of the rules is become aggressive during mating season. This means when it's not mating season, the animal is more docile. Or chase threats away from your nest means they're only aggressive if they have a nest. When they're not nesting, they won't attack. They'll have different scenarios to make animals behave a certain way. Once the conditions are met, it'll trigger different reactions. An animal can have a 10% chance to flee or a 30% chance to attack. This will make each encounter unpredictable. They're already using these profiles to power the threat display that's currently in the game, and they're building combat behavior on it. Turns out you can pull a debug menu in the game by pressing Shift B. I never knew that was possible. You can see which actions are prioritized by the animal. This is another look at the new Scrubland foliage. This is exactly how I wanted my Scrubland exhibit to look. You have plants where some of the branches are drying because it's not getting enough water. The current plants look too perfect and pristine. This looks more realistic. I'm definitely going to redo my Scrubland exhibits. Also coming to the PTB is the water update. The water rendering update will fix an old glitch where modular pieces disappear underwater. They're also adding water caustics and particle effects when animals move and splash in the water. It would be cool to have animals generate waves and water ripples too, but I think those effects are pretty expensive. Nice to have, but I wouldn't be upset if they didn't add it. Most games today don't have waves when you interact with the water surface. I'll settle for looking at these beautiful reflections and refractions. Another huge improvement is being able to change the water type with a single click. Before, you would have to repaint the entire body of water to make this change. Here is another shot showing all the details underwater in a clear pool. I can't get over how good these reflections look, and this game isn't using ray tracing. Finally, we have another animal reveal. It's Pachycephalosaurus, another animal from the Hell Creek Formation. It'll come in 2 different species. Since Stygimoloch is now recognized as a younger Pachycephalosaurus, you're going to see some crazy changes to the skull as it grows. Here's an idea: you can limit the animal's growth to a certain age so it doesn't reach adulthood, and then you can pretend you have a Stygimoloch. That covers this month's Prehistoric Kingdom Dev Diaries. If you can spare some extra money, consider supporting the devs on Patreon. If you don't have money, you can help spread the word. It's closing time for the Dinosaur Arcade. I'll see you next time.